All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something that, let's be honest, pretty much all of us deal with. A mind that just refuses to sit still. And what we're going to see in this explainer is that this constant mental chatter, it's not some kind of personal failure. It might actually be the very first and maybe the most important step on a really profound journey.
I mean, really think about it. You sit down, you're trying to focus, or maybe just relax for a minute. And boom, your brain decides it's the absolute perfect time to replay that awkward thing you said 10 years ago, or worry about a deadline, or maybe just plan out your grocery list. Sound familiar? Yeah, you're definitely in the right place. So the author of our source material, on his very first meditation retreat, gets this piece of advice that sounds kind of weird, right? He's frustrated. He's telling his teacher, I can't do this. My mind is all over the place. And the teacher's response that it's good that he notices, well, that's everything. Just noticing it. That's the win. And that idea is the key to all of this.
Okay, so let's get into the why. Why on earth does our mind do this? I promise it's not just you. There's actually a powerful biological reason for all this internal noise. And once you get it, it completely changes the game.
So say hello to the main culprit here, the default mode network, or DMN. You can kind of think of it as your brain's screensaver. Whenever you aren't actively focused on a specific task, like, say, doing a puzzle or having a conversation, the DMN just automatically kicks in. It's not a bug, it's a feature of your brain's operating system.
So what does this DMN actually do?
Well, pretty much exactly what you'd think. It chews on old memories, it gets anxious about the future, it daydreams.
You know the drill.
Basically, it does everything except pay attention to what's happening right here, right now. It is fundamentally obsessed with the past and the future.
And this, right here, this is the core challenge of meditation. Look, it's one thing to focus when you're doing something engaging, but when you deliberately try to do nothing, to just sit there and be, that's when the DMN goes into absolute overdrive. And that's exactly why people use techniques like focusing on the breath. It gives your mind a simple little job to do, to help wean it off that constant wandering. So once you have a tool like the breath to quiet down some of that chatter, you find yourself at a fork in the road. See, meditation offers two very different paths from here, and you really got to understand the difference. So on one path, you've got concentration meditation. The aim here is to focus so intensely on one single thing that everything else just melts away. The goal is to hit states of peace, serenity, even pure bliss. It's a powerful but temporary escape. Now, on the other path, you have mindfulness meditation. Here, the goal isn't to escape your thoughts at all. It's to observe them and your feelings and your body's sensations with a kind of calm, non-judgmental awareness. This isn't about escape. This is about training for real life.
This is what the teacher said when the author came back, all excited, describing this super blissful, almost hallucinatory state he reached during concentration practice. And the teacher was basically like, that's cool, but don't get hung up on it. See, for the mindfulness path, even those amazing ecstatic feelings, they're just one more thing to be observed without trying to cling to them.
So what's the big payoff then? This is where practicing mindfulness starts to make a real difference in your actual life. It's not just about what happens when you're sitting on a cushion. It's about what happens in your car, at work, and in every little interaction you have.
Here's a classic example. Instead of instantly flying into a rage when somebody cuts you off in traffic, mindfulness creates this tiny little gap. You actually notice the anger rising up. You see it as just a feeling. And you might find it doesn't really have the same grip on you. You're not so easily pushed around by those useless feelings.
And hey, it's not just about turning down the volume on the bad stuff. It's about turning up the volume on the good stuff too. When your default mode network isn't constantly yanking you into the past or the future, you have more mental space to just perceive what's here. And suddenly, the ordinary world can start to seem, well, pretty extraordinary.
I mean, think about that. The author, who says he is not the stop and smell the roses type at all, found that by eating mindfully, just closing his eyes and focusing only on the taste and the texture, even a simple bite of salad could be this incredible experience. It just shows you how much richness we miss out on when we're just lost in thought.
And this is a really crucial point. While mindfulness definitely puts you in the present moment, living in the now isn't actually the final goal. It's the training ground. It's the tool you use to get to something much, much deeper.
This red pill metaphor from The Matrix is just perfect, isn't it? It marks the shift from, a simple technique to lower your stress to a really profound philosophical investigation. Being present, that's how you start to see what's really going on.
And that brings us to the ultimate aim of this whole path, insight. This is where a simple mental exercise transforms into a spiritual and philosophical quest.
In this tradition, the practice of mindfulness is called vipassana, which basically means insight or clear seeing. The point isn't just to feel a bit better. The point is to see the nature of reality so clearly, so directly, that it can actually free you from the deep-seated dissatisfaction that's just part of life. This clear seeing is all about getting, on a gut level, 3 fundamental truths about existence. First up, as you see there, is impermanence. Nothing lasts. Not the good feelings, not the bad feelings, nothing. It's all in flux. Second, dukkha. This is often translated as suffering, but it's more like a constant low-level unsatisfactoriness. It's that frustration we started with. Now, most of us can kind of nod along to those first 2. But it's the third one, not self, that's the real mind-bender. It suggests that our deepest feeling, that there's a solid, unchanging me in here calling the shots, is actually an illusion.
According to Buddhist philosophy, this one is the final boss. Really grasping not self is the key that unlocks everything. And what's wild is that it takes us right back, full circle, to the very beginning of this whole conversation. Seriously, think about it. That first frustration you felt, I can't control my wandering mind, that wasn't a sign you were failing. That was your very first direct glimpse of the not self principle in action. That was you noticing that the you thought was in charge actually isn't. So if the CEO in your head isn't really running the show, what is? And that's a question worth sitting with.